Imagine a world where superheroes are real, not just in comic books, not just in movies. Real heroes flying in the sky, stopping giant robots, saving the city every day. And in this world, there's even a special high school, just for the children of superheroes. At this school, everything depends on your powers. If you're strong, fast, or can control the elements, you train to become a hero. But if your powers aren't that great, you're trained to be a sidekick. That's just how the system works. Now let's talk about the most loved superhero couple in this world. The Commander is a hero with unbelievable strength. He can smash through steel like it's paper. And Jetstream is fast, fearless, and able to fly. She's also an expert in fighting. But behind the masks, they're just Steve and Jose, a normal husband and wife. And they have a teenage son named Will. Will dreams of becoming a hero just like his parents. There's only one small problem. He doesn't have any powers. At least not yet. On the morning of his first day at Superhero High School, Will tries to prove something to his dad. He goes into the garage and struggles to lift a heavy stack of weights. He can barely move it, but he pretends he's doing it easily. His father sees him and smiles proudly, thinking, "My son is finally getting his powers." Will doesn't correct him. He wants his dad to believe in him. A little later, his best friend Isla comes over. She's known Will since they were kids. Unlike him, she already has powers. She can control nature, plants, vines, trees. She's confident and ready for school. Will, he's nervous. They sit down for breakfast as a family. For a moment, everything feels normal, but then the alarm goes off. There's trouble in the city. A giant robot is attacking downtown. Without wasting a second, Commander and Jetstream jump into action. Jetstream grabs her husband and flies high into the sky. Then, like a human missile, she launches him straight at the robot. Boom! With one massive punch, the Commander destroys it in a single hit. The city is safe again. People cheer. And at home, Will watches everything on TV with wide eyes. That's what he wants. He wants to fly into danger. He wants to save people. He wants to be just like his parents. Finally, it's time for school. Will gets on the bus with his best friend Layla, heading to Sky High, the high school for superheroes. The bus driver, Ron, is loud, funny, and a huge fan of the Commander and Jetstream. The moment he finds out Will is their son, he almost loses his mind. He starts asking questions, praising his parents, and treating Will like a celebrity. Will smiles, but deep down, he feels nervous. On the bus, they meet other new students, Ethan, Magenta, and Zach. They're all first years, all excited, and all hoping they'll be placed in the hero class. Suddenly, the bus starts speeding up, way too fast. It heads straight toward a bridge that isn't even finished. The kids start screaming. It looks like they're about to fall straight down, but at the last second, Ron hits a button. Wings pop out. Boosters fire up. The bus transforms into a flying ship. Instead of falling, it shoots up into the sky. And there it is, Sky High, a massive school floating in the clouds. When they land, the new students stare in shock. Older students are flying around, showing off their powers, lifting heavy objects, shooting energy from their hands. It feels like a dream. But then the bullies show up. Speed, a cocky guy who can run so fast you can barely see him. He zooms in circles around the new kids, laughing at them. And Lash, his partner, stretches his arms and legs like rubber, blocking their path and demanding lunch money. The new kids freeze. But before things get worse, someone steps in. Gwen. She's calm, confident, and the student council president. With just a few words, she shuts the bullies down and sends them away. Then she kindly offers to show the new students around. Will can't stop staring at her. He's completely impressed. Layla notices, and she doesn't like it one bit. After the tour, all the new students are taken to the gym. This is the big moment. Coach Boomer is in charge. He explains the rules clearly. Based on their powers, they will be split into two groups, heroes and sidekicks. One by one, students show what they can do. Then comes Larry, a small, quiet, nerdy kid. Everyone underestimates him, but when the test begins, he suddenly turns his whole body into solid stone. He becomes heavy, strong, and impossible to move. Coach Boomer nods. Hero class. Next up is Zach. He walks up confidently. He's sure he's going to be a hero. He shows his power. He can glow and shine bright like a light bulb. But there's one small problem. His power only works in the dark. Coach Boomer shakes his head. Sidekick. Zach's smile disappears. Then it's Ethan's turn. He can melt his body into liquid. Sounds cool, right? But the coach says it's not strong enough for the hero track. Sidekick. Magenta goes next. She proudly shows her power. She turns into a guinea pig. The gym goes silent. Sidekick. Now it's Isla's turn, but she doesn't even step forward. She says she doesn't believe in dividing students into heroes and sidekicks. She thinks it's unfair. Coach Boomer doesn't like that attitude at all. Without even testing her, he sends her straight to the sidekick group. And then it's Will's turn. The whole gym goes quiet. The commander's son is finally stepping up, but right before he can show anything, the lunch bell rings, saved by the bell. In the cafeteria, Will feels all eyes on him. He notices someone staring from across the room. It's a guy named Warren. Zach leans in and whispers, "That's the son of a supervillain. The commander put his dad in jail." The moment Will hears that, he decides to stay far away from Warren. No drama, not today. Later, when they head back for the test, Will runs into Gwen again. She's friendly, confident, and surprisingly easy to talk to. She invites him to join the school's welcome committee. He says yes immediately. Hila sees this, and it makes her even more uncomfortable. Finally, everyone gathers back in the gym. Now there's no escape. It's Will's turn. He slowly walks up and admits the truth. He tells Coach Boomer he still doesn't know what his power is, but the coach laughs. The commander's son doesn't know his power? Good joke. To test him, the coach drops a full car right on top of him. The students gasp. At the last second, Will rolls out of the way. The car crashes to the ground. Okay, so he definitely doesn't have super strength. Coach Boomer tries something else. A hidden springboard launches Will high into the air. "If you're Jetstream's son," the coach says, "you should be able to fly." Will flails in the air, and then he falls. Hard. No flying, no strength, nothing. Coach Boomer sighs. He has no choice. Will's Stronghold is placed in the sidekick class, something that has never happened in his family. For the first time, Will feels truly embarrassed. After school, he goes home ready to tell his parents the truth. But before he can say anything, his dad calls him excitedly. He wants to show Will something special, his secret hideout. Will has never been allowed inside before. As he walks in, his eyes go wide. It's like a superhero museum. There's a high-tech command center, a giant training gym, glass cases filled with trophies from past battles, and in one case, there's a strange weapon. It's called the Pacifier. It once belonged to a dangerous villain named Royal Pain. The commander explains that during their first big fight, he and Jetstream defeated Royal Pain. After that battle, the villain disappeared. All that was left behind was that weapon. Then Steve proudly adds a new trophy to the room, the giant robot's head they destroyed in the city. But here's the scary part. Inside that robot head, there's a hidden camera, which means someone is watching them. Somewhere out there, a new villain is planning something. The next day at Sky High, Will and the other sidekicks have their first real class. Their teacher is Mr. Boy, the commander's old sidekick. He's not flashy, he doesn't have big powers, but he knows everything about being a great partner. He teaches them how to use a utility belt, how to change into their costume in seconds, and even how to stand in a cool, heroic pose. Slowly, Will starts to feel okay about being a sidekick. It's not so bad. He has good friends. He even invites Zach, Ethan, Magenta, and Isla over to his house to do homework. Everything is going great, until his dad comes home early. Steve walks in and sees all the kids using their powers. He's impressed at first, but then he finds out they're all sidekicks. And when he learns that Will is also in the sidekick class, he gets angry. He thinks the school made a mistake. But this time, Will tells the truth. He says he doesn't have any powers. None. And he says it calmly. He tells his dad he's proud of who he is. He says he's happy to have friends who accept him. That honesty surprises everyone, especially Illa. A few days later, things seem normal again at school, until lunchtime. Will is about to sit down when Lash secretly stretches his arm and trips him. Will falls forward. His lunch tray flies out of his hands and spills all over Warren. Warren slowly stands up. He's not happy. Suddenly, his arms burst into flames. Now everyone sees his power. He can control fire. He starts blasting flames across the cafeteria, chasing Will between tables. Students scream and run for cover. The whole place turns into chaos. Will's friends try to step in, but Warren warns them to stay back. Then something changes. Will stops running. He turns around. He decides to face him, and in that moment he feels something. He grabs a heavy table and lifts it. Like it's nothing, his super strength has finally appeared. With one powerful throw, he sends the table flying into Warren, smashing him into the ceiling. But Warren isn't done. He fires even bigger flames. Just then, Illa throws a fire extinguisher to Will. With his new strength, Will rips the top off and sprays Warren, putting out the flames and ending the fight. Right at that moment, the principal walks in. She doesn't care who started it. Both boys are sent to detention, but this isn't normal detention. This room cancels out superpowers. Later that night, Will is so excited about his strength that he accidentally rips a door off its hinges at home. He can't control it yet. After the cafeteria fight, his parents are already waiting for him. They know everything. His mom is upset. She tells him power comes with responsibility, but his dad pulls him aside. Will thinks he's about to get punished. Instead, the commander hugs him. He's proud. His son finally has powers. To celebrate, he even gives Will a new video game. The next day at school, there's a big change. Because of his new strength, Will is moved to the hero class. He doesn't want to leave his sidekick friends, but he doesn't get a choice. Now he's sitting with the heroes. And during science class, he reunites with Gwen. Gwen asks him to sit next to her. She tells him she's a technopath. That means she can control any kind of technology with her mind. Computers, machines, anything. Will doesn't really understand half the science stuff going on in class. So when Gwen offers to tutor him, he happily says yes. Little by little, they start spending more time together. They study together. They sit together at lunch. They even hang out with the other heroes. And Will starts to feel like he finally belongs. One day at lunch, Hila walks in with their old sidekick friends. Will kindly invites them to sit with him. But before they can sit down, Penny, Gwen's friend, uses her power to clone herself. Suddenly, there are multiple Pennies sitting in every empty chair. No seats left. The sidekicks are forced to walk away. Will feels bad, but he says nothing. And that silence hurts Hila more than anything. Days pass. During team training, Will uses his super strength to save a teammate from a trap. His team wins because of him. Now everyone sees him as a real hero. His popularity grows. That night, his dad was proud, and Gwen even comes over to tutor him again. Before studying, she joins the family for dinner. During the meal, she invites the commander and Jetstream to the school dance. They're going to be honored there. His parents gladly accepted. For Will, it feels perfect. So perfect that he completely forgets something important. He had a dinner plan with Hila. Meanwhile, Hila waits for him at a restaurant. She waits and wait, but he never shows up. And the waiter? It's Warren. Even though he acts tough, he feels bad for her. He sits down and talks to her. Hila finally admits she's been in love with Will since they were kids. Before going back to work, Warren tells her something simple. Just tell him how you feel. But Will is too busy thinking about Gwen. Before leaving his house that night, Gwen invites Will to the dance. He says yes immediately. The next morning at the bus stop, Hila is ready to confess her feelings. She takes a deep breath, but before she can speak, Will cuts her off. He tells her he's going to the dance with Gwen. Hila freezes. Her heart clearly breaks. Still, she forces a smile and says she's going too. With Warren. Now it's Will's turn to be shocked. He gets angry. He can't believe she would go with his enemy, but Hila doesn't care. She's doing it to make him jealous. At lunch, she even sits with Warren and tells him her plan. At first, he refuses, but once he realizes it will annoy Will, he agrees instantly, and it works. The more Will sees them together, the more upset he becomes. Meanwhile, Gwen keeps tutoring Will, but he can't focus. She notices. Then she asks if she can bring the student council to his house for a small meeting. Will hesitates. His parents aren't home, but Gwen smiles and says afterward, they can spend some time alone. That's enough to convince him. But the small meeting turns into something else. Gwen invites almost the entire school. Within minutes, Will's house turns into a huge party. Music, noise, students everywhere. Will starts to panic. His parents will be furious. Gwen tells him to relax and suggests they go somewhere quiet. So Will takes her to the most secret place in the house, his dad's hidden superhero base. At first, everything seemed fine, but then Speed and Lash suddenly break in. While everyone is distracted by the party, they steal the pacifier, the dangerous weapon that once belonged to Royal Pain. At the same time, Hila sees the chaos at Will's house and decides to check what's going on. When Will and Gwen return upstairs, the party is completely out of control. Will is already stressed. Then Gwen spots Hila in the crowd. She walks straight up to her and says something cruel. She tells Hila that Will always knew she loved him and that he never cared. Those words hit hard. Right at that moment, Will shows up to talk, but Hila doesn't stay. She walks away without listening. Will turns to Gwen, confused, asking what happened. When he finds out what Gwen said, he explodes. He tells her he's not going to the dance with her. He kicks everyone out of his house, but it's too late. His parents have just arrived. The commander and Jetstream are furious. They clear out the house and then confront Will. He tries to explain, but he feels embarrassed, disappointed, angry at himself. He goes to his room and tries calling Illa. She doesn't answer. Then the night of the school dance finally arrives. His mom tries to cheer him up and tells him to go anyway, but Will refuses. He's scared his friends won't forgive him. Before leaving for the dance, his mom gives him an old school yearbook called Old School Freshman. It was something his dad wanted to show at the party. Will flips through it without caring much, but then he freezes. In one of the old photos, he sees a girl who looks exactly like Gwen. Same face, same smile, but the name under the picture isn't Gwen. It's her mother. And when he reads more, he finds out something shocking. Gwen's mother was the one who created the pacifier, the same weapon that was stolen. At that moment, everything clicks. Will realizes the truth. Gwen isn't who she says she is. He runs straight to Sky High. Meanwhile, the dance is already in full swing. Music is playing. Students are laughing. The commander and Jetstream arrive and are welcomed by Gwen, who is holding a trophy for them. She smiles sweetly. Then suddenly, she removes her mask and reveals her true identity. She is Royal Pain. She never disappeared. Years ago, during a fight with Will's parents, her own weapon exploded and turned her into a baby. She grew up again in secret, and now she wants revenge. In seconds, she grabs the pacifier and fires it at the commander and Jetstream. They instantly turn into babies. Then she blasts the teachers, the students. With help from Lash, Speed, and Penny, she captures almost everyone, but a small group escapes through the air vents. Warren, Ela, Magenta, Zach, Ethan. A few minutes later, Will arrives at the school. Thanks to Zach glowing in the dark vents, he finds them. Surrounded by danger, Will finally says what he should have said long ago. He apologizes to all of them, especially Illa, and then he kisses her. But the moment doesn't last. Speed suddenly appears, followed by the other villains. A fight breaks out inside the vents. Warren attacks the henchmen. Will smashes through walls with his strength, heading straight for Royal Pain. Ethan turns his body into liquid, dodging Lash's stretchy attacks. In the bathroom, Ethan reforms behind him and shoves Lash's head straight into a toilet. In the hallway, Warren fights Speed. Speed moves fast, dodging fireballs. But Ethan suddenly melts into liquid right in front of Speed, making him slip and crash into a wall. Warren takes the chance and knocks him out with a fire blast. Then it's Alla's turn. Penny creates dozens of clones and charges at her. At first, Illa holds back. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. But when Penny punches her in the face, that's it. Illa unleashes her full power. Massive tree trunks and thick roots explode from the ground, trapping every single clone at once. Penny is defeated. But before Illa can relax, Penny shouts something terrifying. Royal Pain has shut down the school's anti-gravity engine. In 10 minutes, Sky High will fall from the sky and crash. The only way to stop it is through a small device hidden deep inside the pipes. Only someone tiny can reach it. Magenta steps forward. She turns into a guinea pig and races through the vents as fast as she can. Meanwhile, in the gym, Will faces Royal Pain alone. He tries to talk to her. He even apologizes for what happened years ago, but she laughs. She tells him the school once labeled her a sidekick. Now she wants to turn everyone into babies and build her own school of villains. The fight begins. Will throws her across the gym with his strength. She hits back with electric gauntlets, blasting him into walls. Both are tired, both are hurt. Then, Royal Pain lands a massive hit and knocks Will straight out of the school. He falls from the sky. Warren and Illa watch in horror. They think it's over. But in the middle of the fall, something happens. Will stops falling. He feels light. He spreads his arms. He's flying, just like his mom. With his new power, he shoots back toward the school like a rocket. He slams into Royal Pain with one powerful punch, smashing her helmet. She crashes to the ground, knocked out. For a moment, it feels like everything is finally over. Everyone starts to celebrate. But suddenly Gwen opens her eyes. Before anyone can react, she presses a button on her glove. The anti-gravity engine shuts down completely. And within seconds, Sky High starts falling from the sky. The whole school drops fast. Students scream, the walls shake, everything starts breaking apart. Inside the pipes, Magenta hears the loud metal shaking. She knows time is running out. She races through the narrow space as a guinea pig, searching for the right cable. Outside, Will flies under the school. Using all his strength, He pushes up against it. He tries to hold the entire building in the air, but it's too heavy, even for him. Down on Earth, a couple who just bought their new house look up in horror. The entire school is falling straight toward them. Back in the pipes, Magenta finally finds the cable. With one quick bite, she cuts it. The engine powers back on. The school suddenly stops falling. It floats again. Will gives one last powerful push and sends it safely back into the sky. Everyone is saved, but there's still one problem. All the teachers and heroes are still babies. Luckily, the science teacher, whose brain still works perfectly, figures out how to reverse the pacifier's effect. One by one, everyone turns back to normal. The commander and Jetstream return to their adult forms. The danger is finally over. The commander proudly congratulates Will and his entire team. Not just Will, all of them. He gives them a trophy and calls them true heroes because they worked together. And that's what really saved the day. Everyone celebrates, except the villains, who are now in serious trouble. Later, Will and Illa share a quiet moment. No drama, no jealousy, just the two of them. They smile at each other. And then they fly together around the school, happy at last. A few days later, the villains are sent to prison. Even Ron, the bus driver, finally gets his powers after accidentally falling into radioactive waste. And life at Sky High goes back to normal. Will, Illa, and their friends return to class, still training, still learning, because becoming a true hero isn't about power. It's about courage, friendship, and doing the right thing, even when it's hard. And that's the story. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below.